Well, it sure was quiet last week, wasn't it? Well, I started the week with a head cold, and then by the end of the week, my grandmother had a head cold, and now it's just a hospital ward here. But I'm feeling better now, so let's get a few things out and get Random Review back on track. It's going to be a busy week, and we're going to start it off with Cybertron Lugnuts. Oh, wait! This is not Cybertron Lugnuts. This is Galaxy Force Roadstorm, the Japanese version of him. You can tell because the flame deco is not done up in gold, and it is a different pattern. That's largely the only major difference going on. As you can see, he is a very cool Harley-Davidson style motorcycle, and the kind of motorcycle I really prefer, closer to a chopper than what you typically see. Transforming motorcycles these days are either in the Junkion class of dirt bike, we saw that in Generations, and I think Groove is probably the only last one. We don't get them as often as we used to, and I like them. I like them a lot. Now, this one in particular definitely has the heavy machinery look to it. It has the feel and the aesthetic that I dig. Lots and lots of gold, or orange flames rather, across the orange surface. It's a very nice color mix, and the nice part about it is you can actually tell the flames from the actual body. I can't tell you how many times Hot Rod has failed me in that sense. Roadstorm got it right, though. I can see everything nice and clear. You know, orange, yellow, or yellow, orangish yellow. It's kind of a dull shade of yellow, but it kind of works. It's a subtle difference. So you've got plenty of orange plastic, plenty of black, light gray, standard gray, some silver detailing here and there as well. Even little bits right there. And, yeah, of course, black all over this thing. Little details included that I like. You have a completely different color for the headlight. It's a very pale metallic blue. Looks quite good. And toward the back with one single tail light and a space for a license plate. That's an interesting little choice to include. Standard, little tiny details like that. I like it. Exhaust pipes on both sides, completely accounted for. There's going to be something interesting with those, but we'll get to that during transformation. So yeah, all in all, quite enjoy. And yeah, because of the pipes, he actually does stand stable on his two wheels. Always a good thing. You know what I really like about this? Where's the robot? Like, seriously, motorcycle transformers are pretty famous for not being able to hide the robot mode very well, because there's very little space to hide things on. But seriously, like, if you didn't know what turned into the arms and the legs and whatnot, this would be very difficult to spot because this is exceptionally well hidden, and it's why I think this toy gets a hard time too often. I really think just the way that it manages to hide the fact that it is a robot in disguise is pretty outstanding, and I would guarantee you somewhere at some Goodwill, at some thrift store out there somewhere, a Lugnuts has been sold as a motorcycle toy with no indication that it was a Transformer. I guarantee you. Oh, you'd think the underside would give it away? Nope. All sides, this guy is completely motorcycle, and it is glorious. Now, we're going to go ahead and show you the Cyber Key Gimmick. It is the standard Earth key. It's the Japanese version, so no code on the back. Go ahead and insert into one side of the motorcycle, and the other side flips up a rocket pack ready to launch off whatever missiles he happens to be carrying that day. This is kind of a simple gimmick, but it's effective enough, and I like how it transfers from one side of the motorcycle to the other. It's a good way of using the bulk of the vehicle in order to actually accommodate a gimmick. It's going to make him hurt a little bit, here in a moment. So let's go ahead and get him to robot mode so we can actually see that for sure. This is his exhaust going off for the accessory. Now, we're going to go ahead and start transforming by splitting him at the base. I cut my thumbnails way too short before this video. I'm just now realizing that. Ooh, that was bad. All right. So we get his legs out of the way like this. Those go up. This comes down. All the rear section goes down. That way we have plenty of room to swing all of this to the back. And what's actually going to become his front. We're going to flip down these black pieces. That will become the feet of the robot mode. I'm going to go ahead and spin that into position. Now the arms fold down from the engine. And that's such a perfect shape for disguising the arms. It's one thing I really like about this toy. Very cleverly hides where everything is supposed to go. Ugh, once again, I needed fingernails and thumbnails for this, splitting open the front section. With that split, we can double hinge the arms into their proper position. Everything can start to find its final home there. Flip up that gray piece to reveal the head. And if I can get this guy tucked into his proper position. And it's been a while since I transformed him. We got to get his seat connected to these two little nubs right there on the sides of his gas tank in order to lock everything into place and call him a completed transforming robot. He definitely has a bulk issue with him, but we'll get to that here in a bit. Comes up pretty nice. Like aside from we'll get into his faults and such here in a bit, but I do enjoy that the transformation works pretty well and how the robot mode integrates with the vehicle mode. This is what I mean about the vehicle mode parts becoming the robot mode parts. This is one of the shining examples of that philosophy as far as the transforming robot goes, because everything feels natural to him in both modes. That's really, really important to me. So let's take a look at Roadstorm up close and personal. His robot mode head, visor. Of course you'd have a visor on something like this. A little bit squat head design, a little bit basic, but I really don't mind it so much. Gives them at least a unique look, and that's one thing I could really say about Cybertron figures, or Galaxy Force in this case. They always had a very unique look and personality to them, which I always kind of like, at least as far as like a physical body goes. Even if the head design is a little bit generic, he definitely doesn't look like your standard robot in disguise, now does he? So you're going to start seeing where this toy gets a whole lot of his flack. Yes, he wears a whole bunch of his vehicle on his back and on his arms, which is really unfortunate. He's very much kibbled and bulked down because his gimmick is taking up this huge chunk of the rear of his vehicle mode. I have to commend them for being able to come up with a completely transforming robot and still incorporating that gimmick into such a small vehicle. At the same time, yes, this is a case of the gimmick hurting the actual robot itself. I like the overall look. The gray and the black balance each other out very well. I do wish the orange that was the predominantly his color in vehicle mode took up more of his robot mode. I could stand to have it in a few spots on his arm, like maybe on his hands or his knees or something like that. As it is, it pretty much is all just worn on his back. And there's something to say for transforming and completely changing up your color scheme while you're at it. It's another thing for this really did feel like a different Transformer when he was a vehicle. There is a distinct difference, and I think he shows it. I don't know, I just could have used more of that nice orange that he had. So, detail-wise, he's pretty much the same. You got all those components. You can see like oil tanks and such that would be on the actual vehicle mode, the leftover exhaust pipes, which I do like that one side of him is an accessory and the other side of exhaust pipes split into two parts. It's a little bit of a nice trick. It's you wouldn't really expect it. It's not bad. Again, there's some smart engineering here. And then there's everything that's hanging off of his back. That's really the unfortunate part of him, because it does hinder what he is able to do, especially in the arm articulation. Speaking of, we'll go to articulation, because there's really not a whole lot to speak of in this guy. Nothing in the head, nothing in the waist, because that's just how he transforms. Keep in mind, this toy was like $7 when he first came out, so you're not getting a whole lot here. Shoulders can move outward if you move all that big kibble in the weird direction. But yeah, because it's all interfering with this big backpack here, there's no real way to get some good articulation out of that arm, which is unfortunate. The elbows are double jointed, which is nice, so you have that at least. Ball joints at the hips are really good. You have that. 90-degree bend at the knee, and huge ankle, or a huge heel spurs there, which of course you need for that giant backpack of his. But that is all. He really does not have a whole lot of articulation to speak of. And then you have the exhaust pipe, which attaches to his hand as his particular form of gun, which almost has a trombone look to it thanks to that curling pipe on there. Takes a little bit of imagination, but hey, at least he has a weapon of sorts, and it does form into his vehicle, which is a plus. I'd like to be able to point it forward more naturally, but yeah, so he's got a lot of problems, I will admit. At least his gimmick still works in this mode. I go ahead and pop the key into his big old backpack. It does flip forward, and now it points forward instead of being like an anti-aircraft thing. So, hey, you have that. That, my friends, is Cybertron Lugnuts / Galaxy Force Roadstorm. He's a problematic robot. I will give you that. Way too much kibble, way too many restrictions of his articulation. I think having such a well-engineered and well-designed vehicle mode does make up for some of that. You have to remember, a Transformer is part action figure, part vehicle toy, and in the vehicle toy department, he shines. He is outstanding, one of the best hiding Transformers you'll find. But most people prefer the robot to the vehicle, and in this case, the robot is, unfortunately, definitely a letdown.